As you can see by the title above, this is basically a video about the Ken Penders versus Archie Comics case, or Archie Comics versus Ken Penders case. News on it, or update, whatever you want to call it. And also, first of all, I'm going to start off with a fan's reaction to this. The fan's reaction is by Ezekiel. Some of you may know who he is. I did a video focusing on his interaction, I think, with Koopa Gal 24 over at Devinar in her discussion with Ian Flynn. But this isn't about Ian, this is about Ken Penders. And this is Ezekiel's journal. I will post it down in the description box. But the title of his journal is, I think it's his journal. Yeah. He did this about 17 hours ago, 17, 18 hours ago. But this is his journal right here. It's entitled, "Why Isn't Anyone Addressing This?" He's asking the question, why isn't anyone addressing this? And then he provides a couple of links to basically the same story, the same article, a similar news article about it. But this is what he says about it, and I quote. This is Ezekiel at Devinar. This is what he says, and I quote. "La la la la, I think I'm enjoying not hating on Flynn, and it makes me so more open to what more the fan base has to offer. Let's see what's going on in the fandom." And then he provides the 3 links to the story article. And then this is what he says, ... I fucking hate the effect of this I fucking hate the effect this comic has. And then he goes, and this is what he says, and I quote, continuing on. Continuing on. Sigh. He's like, sigh. Okay, a little summary. Once upon a time, there was a decent writer named Ken Penders, who wrote stories for the comic. He went bonkers and left, being replaced by Flynn. Let's not mention him now. So what is he up to nowadays? Oh, nothing much. Just suing Archie Comics and the Sega Corporation for misuse of his quote-unquote characters and stories. According to him, Archie has been using characters he claims to own in recent issues and spin-offs. If he wins the case, he will practically hold full copyright to about 80% of the stories written in the comic book, as well as be able to use a few characters. With this ability, he will have full control over what the company can re-release and which characters they can use and when they can use them. And he continues. Alright, that's how he starts off. Now he continues on, and I quote, "Archie writers always have the nerve in pissing me off at one point. Point, don't they? They just love messing with what they have in order to, quote-unquote, do something bold, but instead makes them look stupid. It's this obsessive writer versus 2 large media corporations in which one is a video game company, and the video game companies make about 100% more than Ken is making right now. Basically, it's snooty big britches versus the world here. Let me explain how stupid this action and case is. First of all, the comic is licensed by Sega, meaning that any characters that do get created by a writer will be credited for creation, and he capitalizes but not owned. Sega owns all the characters in the comic. Archie does not. Archie does not. If it is related to Sonic the Hedgehog, chances are that 100% of the copyright belongs to Sega, only Sega, no one else. So just the act of claiming people have been breaking copy. So just the act of claiming people that have been breaking copyright laws for licensed characters that people already own is breaking copyright law. Second of all, he is against companies. This type of case has happened before. People sued Disney for a child getting killed at Disneyland. So this type of case is possible, but against two major corporations in two fields of the media, who have millions of lawyers and attorneys and full rights to the stories you wrote, see how this kind of measures up. Third, as much as I hate the comics, and he capitalizes this, you are halting business. You are halting business. Just by claiming that most of the stories are yours, you stop books from coming out to the public. You are threatening the releases of new issues of the comic, you egotistical, obsessive jackass. As much as I hate the comic, I acknowledge that it needs to sell. This is not helping one bit. You're probably asking, what is Penders planning to do with all that possession? Write a comic book story that pretty much is a direct knockoff of the kidness from the comics? Ken Penders, everyone, when he isn't working, he sure is obsessing over characters he does not own. And this is what he says at the end, I think. Fuck this, I'm going to read a book, read 50 Shades of Grey, maybe some television, Jersey Shore, video games, plays genetic shooter game, and being flipped off by Capcom and EA. Fuck it. The media sucks. Yeah, that's Ezekiel's response. And then he has Volcar295 say things like, Volcar295 doesn't make sense in what he tells him. He says, and he responds to this, he says, I think the reason no one's mentioning it is that, okay, Volcar295 says this, and he says, this is his response, Volcar295's response to Ezekiel's journal. He says, I think the reason no one's mentioning it is that he's unlikely to win. Sega have already won ownership of the Knuckles comic, which is why they're all being reprinted now. Thus, they own the characters that appear in it. So, but, then he says, but because of the case, Penders stopped the distribution. So yeah, basically, what he's saying there is, basically what everyone else has said over the past few weeks, months, year, and that is Ken Penders has no idea what he's doing. Obviously, what's funny about this is Ken Penders actually released back in, I think earlier this year, or a few months ago, released a in-production trailer for The Lost Ones. So it makes you think maybe that's why he's doing this, so he can get money to finish it. Maybe he's running out of money. Just saying. Alright, TSSZ News reports this about the mediation. This is part of the Ken Penders news. This is the news part, and this is what they say. Archie versus Penders case mediation postponed to October. Well, what a surprise, huh? This is what it says. And this is reported by Tristan Oliver. This is what they say, and I quote, they start out headlining this. They say, surprising move given Diamond Comics legal notices. Okay. And this is what they say, and this is what the report says, and I quote, one would think that given the uncertainty that exist with some circulation of current and future Sonic comic releases in the wake of the Diamond Comics abiding by a legal notice pertaining to Knuckles Archives number 3, Archie would want to get to the table and talk things out with Penders' counsel as soon as they were able. An opportunity for such talks was coming up on Tuesday, the first scheduled mediation session in this case. It turns out that will happen much later than originally scheduled. It was Archie's counsel that sent his latest this latest adjournment request. After Penders' lawyers approved, says the letter obtained through public record. Okay, after Ken Penders' lawyers approved, says the letter obtained through public record, to Judge Richard Berman, who then approved it a day after we reported of the legal notice to Diamond. The letter was dated September 12th, the same day our story broke. Scheduling conflicts on all sides due to the religious holidays and other matters are to blame for the delay. Judge Berman ordered the mediation sessions be scheduled to a date no later than October 24th. A subsequent status conference, once scheduled for October 3rd, will now be held on October 30th, the day before Halloween. Why is that important? Barring any intervention, Barring any intervention, it in theory will allow Penders and his legal team, if they so desire, to press on with legal notices pertaining to upcoming Sonic issues they feel violate copyrights that, while being contested by Archie in this case, remain legally valid. If successful, such notices could have an impact on the availability of future Sonic comics and re-releases published by Archie Comics, including the upcoming Sonic comic book encyclopedia. So yeah, basically once again the mediation in this case has been delayed. And this time it's by Archie. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to work something out, trying to find something. Because let's face it, Archie Comics pretty much knows this is BS. Whether you like the company or not, whether you like what they do or not, they pretty much know this is BS by Ken Penders. They pretty much know that. I mean, the thing is, to them, it's like, what does Ken Penders want from us? What does he want us to do? Does he want us to credit him? Fine. By the way, put it in fine print or put it in the bold print and said, oh, by the way, Julie Sue created by Ken Penders. Hershey the Cat created by Ken Penders. Or copyright Ken Penders. Is that what he wants? Fine, they'll put it in there. But is that what he wants, or is there something more? Sometimes to me, I think when somebody does something like this, and I've mentioned this before, I think it's because Ken Penders, like some fans, not trying to put these fans in this category, but I think Ken Penders isn't happy with the direction the story's going. You see, sometimes, and again, I've said this before, sometimes a writer like Ken Penders, when they leave, will hope that the next person that steps into the shoes or steps into the position they were in will continue on what they've started. And apparently that's not what, I guess in his eyes, Ian Flynn is doing. But Ian Flynn wants to do his own thing, and that's good. Everybody does. But the question is, why? I mean, what is it? The question is, why would he do this? Now, I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking one of the options I think it is, or my opinion, one of the reasons it is, he's doing this, is to gain more money, get more money for his Lost Ones project. That's why I think he's doing it. So to me, I think that's probably the main reason when you look at it. But again, it could also be the fact that he's not happy with the direction of the comic. Maybe he's not happy that what he set in stone isn't being continued on in some way. He's not happy about that. Maybe that's why. But again, again, the obvious thing I look at is that he wants money for his Lost Ones project. And I think that's why he's doing this. And I think Ken Penders knows it's BS, but he probably figures, and his lawyers and his team figured, you know what? If you sue Archie Comics over the rights over these characters, even though you really shouldn't, you could probably get some extra money for the Lost Ones project. Just saying. So, but that's basically the update on the Archie Comics versus Ken Penders case. Comment down below, as well as a bit of a fan reaction to it. Comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with the situation or not? And I'll talk to you all later.